Welcome to the Deep Rooted Podcast with Jeff and Rochelle Ferguson. Hey, we're so excited to be with you today. Excited to talk with you. And hey, if this is your first time listening, yay!
Welcome.
We're glad that
so
you
glad
are
you're
here. And if you're a repeat listener, we're so glad that you are a part of our family. With the Deep Rooted, we just want to dig down deep.
Yep.
And so that is what this whole podcast is about, digging down deep in God's Word and in how He wants us to live in every aspect of our family, ministry, marriage, life. And so if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review. If you are listening on Facebook, please share. On YouTube, share. Wherever you are listening, we're glad you are a part of us, but invite a friend.
So glad you're here. And today, what we're doing is, you and I, we've been married for 16 years here.
Coming up really quickly.
And we wanted to do a podcast on, I don't know, we thought about kind of what is, I love our marriage. And we just kind of want to list some things that we feel like is the reason why the marriage goes well, why God
we have
blesses.
A successful marriage, why I feel like everyone should be blessed with the way that we live life. I love the security in our marriage. I love how you love me and how we love Jesus and all of that. We are not perfect, but we are also people that I really feel like just God's blessed, and I want to share about that. And I want everyone to be able to experience the blessing of marriage if that's what God's called you to. And so
this can really be an encouragement.
I hope
think.
So.
Huge encouragement.
I think it is. And if you're not yet married, don't turn off.
Oh, please.
I think that's a huge mistake in our culture, is that we plan for the wedding, but we don't plan for marriage. And I was thinking about marriage and reading books on marriage well before we were ever an item. And so I think it's really, really key to prepare yourself for whatever God has in the future. And so really we got thinking about this because it's not too far removed from Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And we were just talking, okay, what are some things that have really helped us? Why do we have a good, solid marriage? Why? What are some key ingredients? And so we kind of went on a date.
Yes.
And we wrote out some things that are really key to us. And we just want to share them with you. Hopefully they'll encourage you, and I believe God wants each of us to have a thriving marriage. He
does, and I think before we get into this, just overall foundational to this is that it's founded on Jesus Christ, that it's founded on Him. He's the cornerstone of the church, but He's the cornerstone of our lives and our marriage.
Yes. So that's not even like a point.
Right. That's
just not even like on our list, in the sense that there is nothing without Christ being at the center. And so that is 100% basic. Yeah. Basic, but so important. So
start us out.
Okay.
Start us out.
Well, I think the number one thing that we talked about, okay, so why is our marriage successful? Why do we have fun? Why do we enjoy? I can seriously say for every day that we've been married, I've enjoyed being married.
It's been
There's
fun.
never been a moment where I thought, yikes.
Likewise.
What have I gotten myself into? No, every day I've enjoyed being in a relationship with you. And so I think one of the main things that really helped us start out right, especially, is that we didn't come into marriage with a tremendous amount of baggage. We came in with a basically clean slate, and I think that really impacted our future.
And when we talk about this, we're talking about coming in with a history and a commitment to purity.
Yes, a history of purity and a commitment of future. Yes, absolutely.
To purity, that we didn't have to come in and navigate a whole lot of past relational stuff that we did on our own. I'm not talking about just that we did on our own. And so we had that. That was powerful. We didn't have to work through all that.
And so if you are a single person, I would just say, make sure you are praying before you enter any kind of relationship. Jeff is the only guy that I've ever dated. When I first met you. I knew that night. I thought, I am going to marry Jeff Ferguson. Now, I did not tell him that, nor did I tell other people that, because that would weird you out.
I think it would have. It would have weirded me out. God told me that we're going to be married.
No, that's weird. And so, no. But we just, I didn't date anyone else. I think, it's not wrong if you've dated other people. Jeff had dated a couple of people, but every relationship that he had prior to our marriage and in our dating was purity. We were very strict on that in a way that, because we wanted to honor God, and I think we wanted to honor each other. Yeah. And so I think that's really important.
And I think if people are listening and they say, what if I'm married, and what if that's not my story?
Yeah.
What I hear people say is, that's okay, Jesus will take care of it. Jesus can take care of it. And we believe that as well. But I think it's something that people really, and you and I were talking, they really need to wrestle to the ground.
Yes.
There needs to be repentance, there needs to be forgiveness, there needs to be grace and mercy, but there needs to be some serious conversation. And there can get to the point, of course, where there's freedom.
Yes.
But
there's got to be that wrestling, that going through, that getting to the core issues, and making sure that you and your spouse are on the same page. So if you think, well, I'm coming in with impurity, oh no, I'm not going to be able to have a successful relationship. No.
That's a lie of the enemy, by
That
the way.
is a lie of the enemy. But I will tell you, you got to wrestle it down with the Lord, first of all.
True.
And you got to wrestle it down with one another and get those situations really talked out, worked out, forgiven, and moving forward. And then it's got to be moving forward.
Yeah.
Can't keep bringing up the past.
That's great.
Can't bringing up, 10 years ago, you.
Right.
That's going to be bad, no matter what. But I just think we live in a day and age where people don't believe it's possible to live pure in this world.
It is so possible.
And I'm going to tell you, by the power of the Holy Spirit, it is. And I'm talking larger than just physical purity between one another. I'm talking about what you allow in your mind, pornography.
Yep.
I'm talking about the shows you watch. Even in marriage.
Yeah.
We have been married for close to 16 years, and it still matters what I watch on TV, the kinds of books I read. I don't read romance novels. I don't need that. I have my life. I don't need that. I don't need to read that. I mean, we don't watch shows on TV that are glorifying, impurity. There's times where we got to turn stuff off, or, because that's the culture we live in, or we got to fast forward. We can't watch this nonsense. So it's not just a before marriage thing. It's a continuous thing, everyday thing. Not allowing baggage, not allowing some of that junk.
That's good.
Into your relationship. So I think that's a huge, huge foundation. But I can't help but think of another thing that was just so key, and is so key, that we have the same calling.
Same exact calling. Yes.
God has called you and I to the same thing. If I was called to something different than what you were called to, I'm telling you, we would have constant conflict. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be a tremendous
God spoke to me very early. He called me very early, giving me a concise, clear calling. God did the same for you.
Yes, before we were married, absolutely. I knew that God was changing the trajectory of my life. I was planning on being an English middle school teacher, wanted to teach language arts to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and God changed the path of my life. I'm so grateful. But he told me that before we even knew each other, I think, or maybe we had just met, but we weren't dating or anything. That's a whole nother podcast.
We're in this together. We are absolutely in this together.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. We're going down the same road.
Because sometimes your calling gets tough.
Yes. It will get tough.
Yeah.
We should just say that.
Well, it will, but it's not always. But there are seasons when you're calling, it takes a lot. Mm-hmm. And you want to give up at times. And if you and your spouse are not on the same calling, I'm going to tell you, you got to be there for each other. You got to know that you're in this, that God's called you. You're not giving up. We're lifers.
Yes,
I just say whoever wants to try to take us down ain't going to work because we're lifers.
We know
what God has called us to do.
Yep.
And so we're not giving up on that.
Yep.
And, the only way that's happened is if we go home to heaven and, hey, we're still in our calling then.
Yeah, exactly. We're still in our calling.
There you go. But you got to know it.
No, that's
and you
got
to be on the same call.
I think another thing we talked about, and I like this, is that we celebrate each other, and then there's no competition. So I'm not vying for, praise, or you're not vying for, there's no competition between us. When Rochelle does something, she does a whole lot of things a whole lot better than I do, you know what? We celebrate that. There's no jealousy. And there's freedom in that. I don't stand back and think, oh my, I'm kind of insecure in your victories.
No.
It's our victories.
Everything is, when somebody says, man, Pastor Jeff can preach, I think, yes, he can. And I get excited about that. That is, that's thrilling to me. There's no part of me that's like, ooh, why didn't they notice what I did? Oh my. That would be a rough place to live in marriage or any relationship, to be honest. That's a friendship, any kind of situation. But I am thrilled for you when things go well. I mean, you've been called on to do certain things in leadership positions and been given opportunities, and I celebrate that. I get excited. We're one, so I think, well, they're celebrating him. I feel like if people are celebrating me, I'm excited.
And there's so much fun in that. I remember you were speaking at a kind of an event in our statewide event, and someone texted me and says, "Your wife is doing an incredible job. She really," and I'm just. It's fun.
Yes.
To be able to celebrate with each other and not feeling like you're in competition.
No.
Because that's a lose-lose.
Yeah, and God put us together in a particular way that you have giftings that I do not have. And I have giftings that you don't have. And that's purposeful.
Yeah.
And I think when we begin to maybe get jealous of one another's giftings, I'm telling you, you've entered a dangerous territory. And we just got to know and be secure in who God's called us to be.
Yeah.
And then you can truly celebrate others and not, have any kind of ill will in there or anything like that. So
no, that's great. That's great.
And another thing that we put on our list is everything is ours. There's not a his and hers. It's all Team Ferguson.
Except food.
That's not even true.
I'm joking.
Because you will totally share.
I will share.
If I ask you, you totally will share.
You're
I
right.
always share.
Exactly.
True. I mean, we went out to dinner tonight, and that's what happened. No, but seriously, in all reality, everything that we have is ours.
Yep.
There's no, that's your money or that's my money. No, it's all ours. That's not your debt or my debt. When we came into a relationship, that's ours.
Yeah.
Just FYI, all we have is our home as a debt. But we don't want to live. We want to live debt free and all of that. But it's not his and hers.
That's good.
And I think, oh wow, we can get into some dangerous territories when we say that's mine. It reminds me of my kids sometimes. That's mine. I'm thinking, no, you live in this house. That's mine.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that we wrote down is we enjoy the same things. We really do.
Yeah.
We enjoy the same things. And we love watching sports together.
Yeah.
I've even, I love Butler basketball.
That's right,
like,
people.
Legitimately,
now,
genuinely.
This year is a little bit harder to love.
It's a little tough.
It's a rebuilding year.
But I tell you what, when you come into marriage and when you begin to like the same things and enjoy the same things genuinely, that's why our marriage is so fun.
Yeah.
It's because, we
have the same things in common. Yeah. Like, I remember when we started dating, you loved Starbucks. I was like, oh my goodness, this guy loves Starbucks. I mean, it's like, hey, you want to go to Starbucks? Sure, again. Creativity is maybe not your, strong suit.
Creativity is not my gift.
You kind of have a habit of things, but
that's true.
I started to like Starbucks, and I became a Gold Club member, back in the day. I don't even know if it's really still that. I just know we get stars and rewards points and all that. But back in the day, you used to get a gold card, and I became that because if I'm going to be a part of Jeff's life, I'm going to have to learn to love Starbucks. And I did. I already loved it. But
it's not hard. It's not hard.
There's things, the more you're with people, the more you enjoy the same things. And we do everything together. It's how we live. And
exactly.
And in doing that, our future goals are aligned. That's another thing we wrote down. What we want in the future is the same.
We're headed the same direction.
We try to reevaluate our goals quite often, definitely yearly. Yeah. But even throughout, okay, what are you thinking? I mean, that's probably a really constant conversation in our house, but I think it's important to have that communication.
Yeah.
What goals? Are we meeting our goals? Because if not, you can set a whole lot of goals and no action steps, you're never going to get them.
Yeah.
And so we have some big goals for 2021. Personally this year. You'll be hearing about them.
Hopefully we can announce them.
I know.
By faith.
It's kind of hidden right now. You have to wait and see. But our goals align, and it's going to require work from both of us to be able to do that. And we're working that out daily.
Yeah. And we're headed in the same direction.
But
exactly.
meeting and knowing and constantly reevaluating that.
Yeah.
Because, things change. And so you got to make sure you're on the same page.
Another thing that we wrote down is our view on raising children, our view on raising kids.
Wow.
And I think that's,
it's the same.
And it is the same. And that's something that I think you navigate to. I don't think none of these things I think is just automatic per se. Like, I think you work at it. And I think this is something we work at.
Yeah.
There's a give and take.
But I really, if you don't, you might not remember, but we talked about this even in our dating. This was important.
We did.
Do you want children?
That's
something an important
you have
factor
to figure out
talk
before
about.
you get
we
married.
talked about how many children we would want to have. If God would allow us. We talked about what would that look like in our home. And we're continually evaluating that. There's some priorities that we have in raising kids. And we knew those 16 years ago when we were talking.
Yeah.
And there's things that have obviously changed in that time. I mean, we couldn't foresee all the things, of course, and that's part of life, like new things coming up. But we have the same goals for our kids. We want them to, experience, playing sports and being in clubs and all of that. But our number one priority is that they know Jesus.
That's number one.
And so we're, that they love and serve Jesus. And so that is key in all the decisions we make in raising kids, in how we discipline and what we allow them to do, what we allow them to watch, all the things that go with that, what school they attend, all the things really key. And if you're not on the same page with raising kids, That's a tough one. Yeah. It will be a conflict. Am I going to stay home with them? How is that going to work? Those are key conversations that we had.
We did. We had them.
And continued to have them as life progressed.
Exactly.
But this next one is directly related to kids, but it can be anything. Yeah. You have coined a phrase, I think, that you use quite often, and it's the grind. And the grind's not bad. The grind is just as it is. It's life. It's the day in, day out things you got to do, like loading the dishwasher, taking out the trash, cleaning your house, making dinner, raising kids.
Going to work, coming home from work, all that stuff.
Filling your car up with gas, everything. It's the grind. It's like all the stuff you have to do.
And if we expect, in marriage, every day to be Valentine's Day or a birthday or an anniversary, when we come into marriage, we're going to be very disappointed because there are those days we can look and we have fun anniversaries and parties that we have experienced and do and all that stuff. But when we look at life,
every day is not like that.
Every day is not like that.
You know what? We just have like chores like everybody else.
Most days are filled with the grind. Again, not bad. They're just life. And I think we found a way to really have fun in the grind, to really enjoy life in the grind.
To not hate the grind, but to find joy in the grind.
And we're not living for vacation. I love vacation. I love going on vacation, but I don't want to live for it. because
how many days until we go? No,
exactly.
I want every day to be a great day.
Because when I come back to my real life, which I still want to
7 days
enjoy it.
Yeah, you still want to enjoy it.
And so we do. We enjoy our ministry. We enjoy our family,
yeah.
whether we're on vacation or not. And I think that's a big part of it is can you just have fun in the grind and not let the grind wear you down.
And our daughter, 11-year-old, said the other day to me something about, I don't even remember exactly how her question went, but it was like, how do you know, like, you love someone? Or she loves looking at pictures of our wedding and old pictures and talking about, how we met and all that kind of stuff. And we were chatting about it, but one of the essence of what I said is that love's a daily choice. And I really believe that. In the grind, you get to choose. Am I going to be frustrated by the amount of laundry I do? Because it's not going away. I'd rather my kids change their clothes every day. So that's good.
Yeah.
And they change them a lot. And they get messy and things happen. And, I'm not going to get annoyed by the grind. I'm going to find joy in the grind, but I'm going to choose to love in the grind. So, yeah. And here's a fun one. Yes. One that we wrote down. We're almost near to the end. But being married to you doesn't get old. I enjoy having adventures. Every day is different or the same in the grind.
And I said this to you, and I'm serious. I don't know how to say this, but when my wife enters a room, something still happens in my stomach. I mean, just in my, in my chest, something. I mean, when my wife calls me on the phone, I'm not trying to sound all mushy or whatever, but it's just true. When my wife calls me on the phone, I'm like, oh, I get to talk to my wife. I don't look and say, oh my.
Ignore.
Decline. I don't do that.
I'm glad.
When my wife walks into a room, the room lights up, and I love to be with you. I love to, to be married to you. And so we just love being married. And so I think that's a huge part of it. Being married does not get old.
Yeah, I sometimes even think this, I'll let you into a little bit of my world of Sunday mornings. Sunday mornings are a big deal in our home. Obviously, we're pastors. And so, everything revolves around okay, Sunday's coming, that kind of thing.
Week.
Every week with regularity, Sunday is coming. And I love it just on Sunday. Sometimes I'll just see you praying with people or, preaching or whatever. And I just think, wow, I'm married to him. That's exciting. I love seeing you live out your call. And I love that I'm a part of that, that we get to team together and see that. And so I think finding joy, it's not I don't know. I mean, I love, the romantic dates or going places. And, sometimes it's when was that? Because Corona, couldn't go anywhere, I mean, so, but I think finding that marriage and finding just the joy in the everyday in the whatever you're doing is important.
Yeah. And we can have fun even going. We did this today. Go to Target and do a Target pickup. Hey, we're together. That's awesome.
And we didn't even have to shop. We just got to pick it up. So that was great. And the last thing that we put on the list, although I'm sure the list could go on and on.
It could go, yeah.
But for what we wanted to share with you is laughter. Lots and lots of laughter. I think just making life fun. Don't take yourself too seriously. I would say, when we were first married, I think we took ourselves too seriously.
For whatever reason, I felt like I was a stress ball. It was seriously.
Why?
I have no clue.
And
if you knew me back then, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't even know why. Maybe we just were so I don't know. I can't even really describe it. But we've learned to just laugh.
Yeah.
And we've gone through some hard stuff. There's been some hard things that have come just as a result of life. Who hasn't had the hard stuff?
Exactly.
We don't need to compare our hard stuff. Everybody has it.
Yep.
Everybody's gone through seasons of, loss or, illness or, infertility, things like that, whatever it is. And I'm just going to encourage you, whatever season you're in, find the laughter, because it's there. Find the things to have fun with. I wish I could even go back to the first newlywed married of us. We were just so worried, like, we gotta make sure we, do all this right of being youth pastors and all this. And, I think you just gotta learn to have fun in the everyday. Just learn to enjoy.
I love being able to hear you laugh before I see you. I love it.
Well, that's probably pretty normal.
And that's awesome. So I think that's a huge thing. So I love being married to you.
Yes.
And hey, hope you were encouraged by this. And if you were, go ahead and share it. Whatever medium you're watching this, share it, rate and review an Apple Podcast, and just tell somebody about it. Because we're praying for you. We're praying for your marriages. For those of you who are not married, we're praying for your future spouse. And God has incredible things in store.
And I would say, hey, if you have other things you want to add to the list, throw them down in the chat if you're watching on something that has that feature. If not, send us an email. Let us know.
We'd love
to hear. What else would you add to the list?
Exactly.
So, all right, have a great day.
See you next time.